Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go, as we're just going to jump back onto the ladder with the Gothitelle team that we featured in yesterday's episode, currently sitting at a rating of 1770. I almost said 22 there since I was changing the music. As always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it, as we're just going to find Justin from Arkansas with a rating of 1807 to kick off the day immediately. Of course, this is a newer team, so I'm going to be making edits as we go along throughout the week. I think maybe changing the Mega Evolution might be one of the strongest ideas, just because Mega Venusaur isn't exactly the greatest fit in a team that kind of revolves on high-octane offense while still relying on bulk. Justin here has a rain team of Terrakion, Metagross, Kingdra, Thundurus, Politoed, and Landorus, so most Pokemon you guys should probably be familiar with. Only real difference here is he's got probably Kingdra over Ludicolo, which most rain teams tend to go with Ludicolo. So definitely a scary team to go up against. Now I really like Gothitelle as a lead here, so I'm going to go with that. I feel like he might try to beat it by going with something like Metagross. Now Scizor is actually really good here too because I have Swords Dance. I think my way of winning this game is by knocking out the Metagross, because once Metagross goes down, Venusaur does a really good job. I could also lead with something like Hydreigon, though I'm not really inclined to do that. So I like Gothitelle, Scizor, I think Venusaur in the back. The question is, do I want a Azumarill or Hydreigon? Both are decent here. Azumarill, of course, gives Kingdra a lot of trouble as well. You know, Hydreigon, I guess, also gives it trouble if I can get Paralysis off. But, so I'm actually leaning towards Azumarill here. But I think Hydreigon makes more sense just because of the Dark Pulses. Tough call. I don't know, though. I think this is a game where Azumarill could actually really shine. But I feel like my opponent must know then he's going to probably keep like Terrakion or Kingdra away from this game because of that. So expecting that, you know what, I'm just going to bring Hydreigon to have a better counter to the Metagross, especially if I can paralyze it. Dark Pulse can just knock it out. So I'm going to lock in and we'll see how this goes. Definitely a pretty intriguing team on my opponent's end. We faced so many teams, rain teams on Road to Rank, but first time playing against like Kingdra, Terrakion, Metagross on the same team. So he's got a bunch of different modes. You know, he's got the Thundurus, Landorus, but he could easily lead with here, and I can see that happening. But I'm going to go with Gothitelle and Scizor, and he does go with Thundurus, Landorus as I anticipate. So good call here, because he can U-turn right away with that Landorus away from the lock that I have him trapped in right now, which would make a lot of sense. I could try to anticipate that and predict him. I would suspect him to taunt Gothitelle and U-turn out. That makes the most sense to me. So, in anticipation of that, I have a bunch of different plays. I could protect and Swords Dance with Scizor. I could also just Psychic Thundurus and Swords Dance. But by protecting and Swords Dancing, it allows me to go for like a Helping Hand knockoff play the following turn. But you know what? I think I'm just going to Psychic this first turn and Swords Dance. He's not in the best of positions. Oh wow, Thundurus actually has Volt Switch. Wasn't anticipating that. And that must be Choice Specs given how much damage it did. That was a fantastic play. I was not anticipating that at all. Very interesting. So I was expecting Landorus to be switching up and not the Thundurus there. That definitely threw me off a good amount. Though I should have anticipated maybe a offensive Thundurus given his leads. Just surprised he doesn't. Looks like he doesn't have a great way to deal with Trick Room, even though I don't run it. A lot of players expect Gothitelle to carry Trick Room. He's going to bring in Politoed here, which is fine. I suspect Landorus is going to be switching out here with the U-turn, but I guess we'll find out real soon. As Politoed's going to be able to set up the rain here. Yep, he does U-turn as well. So smart turn that first turn to switch both of his Pokemon out. Maybe we'll see Landorus come back in here. That was a really good play on his end, I'd say. I definitely was not anticipating that offensive Thundurus, as it's actually going to be Metagross coming out, which is actually probably better for me here. Though if he's Scarf Politoed, then it's just back to square one, and I still have some issues. But at least Scizor gets a Swords Dance up here, which is nice. And I get a free Psychic off, so I take a lot of damage, but not exactly the worst case here, as I do get the Psychic off as well. Doesn't do too much though. Let's see, so I've got him trapped in with both Pokemon. Venusaur is really good here. I think I should go with my plan and try to just shut down the Metagross if possible. I can also go for a Helping Hand knockoff play onto it. But he might protect Mega Evolving and like go for an attack with Politoed. Kinda want to Thunder Wave Metagross and protect here. This way I get a free switch into Hydreigon. I get to see what item Politoed has. Of course, Thundurus outsped the Landorus there, but it doesn't confirm what item either of them have. Oh, he does go for the Helping Hand play, so I should have Helping Hand knocked off, I guess. Like, yikes. Unless he went for, like, an attack onto Scizor, but I guess we'll see. Most likely, he's going to target down the... Yeah. Oh, wow, he did target Scizor. Cool. So I get the Thunder Wave off, which I was not anticipating, but hey, I'm not going to complain about that. That's really, really nice for me here. So, almost regretted my play, but I find out Politoed's not Scarfed, which is good. I kind of want to go for the Helping Hand play and the knockoff onto Metagross. And I'm going to go for it. He might Protect here, though, which is the issue. But I'm not sure if he knows I'm carrying knockoff nor Helping Hand with Gothitelle, so I'm kind of trying to rely on that. And if he goes for another Helping Hand play with Politoed, that'd be really good. But regardless, getting Metagross paralyzed was really important. So Goth is going to go for the Helping Hand. Let's see what he does. Oh, he's faster with Politoed, gets a Scald off. Okay. Does that knock me out? Yeah, it does. Oh, that was bad. I thought Scizor would be able to outspeed the Politoed there, but not the case. And he has Sub-Metagross as well, so yeah, that's really, really bad for me there. What can I do now? Yeah, that was not how I anticipated things to play out. Scizor should be faster than Politoed. I can bring in Hydreigon, but now he can just go for a Helping Hand play onto my Hydreigon. And there's little I can really do about that. So I'd have to get lucky here. I guess I'll switch into Venusaur and Dark Pulse. I think one big issue this team has is dealing with substitute Steel types. But yeah, that last turn was basically Monumento. He's going to go for the Helping Hand onto Metagross. At this point, I'm really hoping for the full Paralysis. If I don't get it, I think it's going to be a loss for me at this rate. If I can knock out Metagross, though, then I still feel decent about my chances in this game. So let's see if I get it as I take that Life Orb Recoil. Nope, he's just going to be able to get the Iron Head off successfully against Hydreigon. Is that enough to knock me out? Oh, I hang on with 2 HP. Wow, that was clutch. So that keeps me in the game, at least. So I'm going to go straight for the Giga Drain onto Politoed. Question is, do I predict his Protect? I think he's going to not Protect, so I'm just going to go for the Dark Pulse here. I think he might predict Hydreigon to Protect and then Headbutt Venusaur as a result. And I'm at the point now where I'm already behind, so I really need to make some plays to get back into this one. I do think Mega Venusaur can carry this game if Metagross faints here, so that's why I'm still playing it out. I obviously should play it out unless it's never over unless it's over, but let's see what he goes for here. Yep, he does not Protect with that Metagross as I anticipated, so Dark Pulse does pick up the KO here, which is perfect. Unfortunately, though, that does mean Hydreigon's going to go down to the Life Orb Recoil, and it's still going to be very, very difficult to win this one, but at least now I've got this Mega Venusaur out, which can be really, really good against this entire team. He's going to go, well, Giga Drain's going to go off before he attacks, so not going to be able to knock him out, but I actually don't mind him having Politoed in here, just because Politoed's not being very useful. Though I guess he can Helping Hand the following turn and get a free switch in, which can be annoying. He's going to go for the Ice Beam, which I'd rather see over Scald, since Scald can burn me, whereas Ice Beam doesn't do anything, as long as he doesn't freeze and the rain stops. So that's perfect, as Scald's damage is reduced now as well. I'm going to bring in Gothitelle. I presume that we're going to see Thundurus come in here, and yep, it is going to be that Thundurus. Not much of a surprise there. So I'm wondering if he's like Spexed or whatnot. This is interesting. I think I should actually Leech Seed and Protect with Gothitelle. The reason why I want to Leech Seed is because I was playing for the scenario where Venusaur can basically clean up the game by itself. Another play I can make actually is just going for the Giga Drain onto Politoed and protecting with my Gothitelle. And I think I'm going to make this play. He's going to go for the Helping Hand. I'm expecting a Helping Hand electric type attack into Goth, but maybe he predicted this and went for a Hidden Power onto Venusaur. Oh, he's got Psychic too. Wow. Pulling out all the tricks there, and that's going to be a KO. So I'm guessing that's got to be Specs Thundurus based off that damage output. And there's little I can do to really win at this rate. Yeah, it's going to be game, unfortunately. So really a nice offensive Thundurus there. I mean, Volt Switch and Psychic, not as common. I suspect the last two moves would be HP Ice and Thunderbolt, which make a lot of sense. But basically, offensive Thundurus is my opponent's key to winning this one. I feel like if he didn't have it, I would have had a much better matchup. But because he had it, you know, that did way too much damage to all my Pokemon. I didn't have enough time to recover. A Scizor being slower than Politoed there was also an issue because the Scald ended up picking up the KO. I do think if I were faster, I had a much better chance of winning this one. But at this rate, it's going to be GG. And, you know, even if I predicted the Psychic and went for a Protect, there wasn't much I could have done since you did see the Helping Hand KO'd. So, unfortunate there. It's going to be a pretty clean win for my opponent here. Very well played on his end. And I think this is showing kind of the weaknesses with this team. Like, because it's slower and kind of relies on Thunder Wave against Pokemon that can't Thunder Wave, like Thundurus and Landorus, you know, you run into issues. And then against Pokemon that also deal really heavy damage and outspeed you, they just, you know, do a lot of damage and KO you before anything else. So we do see the double target into Gothitelle knocking me out here. It is going to be a loss here. Bunch of important things to take away though. Ultimately, I think the biggest thing was Scizor not being able to do as much as I really would have hoped it for. And then the Metagross hiding behind a substitute was also really, really problematic because it meant that I had to waste a turn basically knocking out the substitutes. So going to be a loss here, unfortunately, but bunch of important things to take away from there. I'm really inclined to not use Mega Venusaur for the rest of this team, or the time with this team, just because not honestly the best Mega Evolution to use with Gothitelle. I might also replace some of the other Pokemon, so we're actually going to drop down to 1755, but all a learning lesson. The first couple of days anytime with the new team is to really get a hang of it and see what the weaknesses and strengths are, and then make some small adjustments here and there in terms of Pokemon choice and whatnot. But pretty interesting match there. We're going to find a 1688 rated player from Japan for our second opponent of the day. Opponent here is rocking a team of Kangaskhan, Garchomp, Thundurus, Amoonguss, Heatran, and Charizard. So I'm glad I switched to Rotom here because I think Rotom can be really, really helpful. Definitely going to want to bring that one into this game. The question is figuring out everything else to lead with. Yep, the Charizard still gives me so many issues though. I feel like Gothitelle and Hydreigon's pretty solid. Yeah, I do like that. With a Azumarill in the back and Rotom as the last one. Venusaur is tempting here, but it's just not a good call against two fire types. So I'm going to lock in and we'll see how this plays out. You know, this team is definitely a prototype given that we just started using it and I've only had 3 games with it on Road to Rank. So still learning a lot as we go, but I can definitely see that it's not like the best team in the sense that I'm going into team preview a lot of these times and I'm just thinking, wow, this is not a good matchup. So I should probably make some adjustments, especially in terms of speed. Looks like we're going to see Charizard and Heatran come out straight from my opponent though, which is pretty solid, I'd say, against Gothitelle and Hydreigon. And the reason why it's solid is because obviously I've got Thunder Wave with Gothitelle, which can slow things down. I've got Earth Power with this Hydreigon as well. So I'm inclined to just go for the Earth Power onto Heatran and Thunder Wave Charizard. Let's see. I could also Helping Hand Draco Meteor, but I'd say Heatran is probably a bit more of a threat. I've got Rotom that can deal with the Charizard. I can also Protect with my Gothitelle this first turn to avoid any damage. But I think it's a good turn to go for a Thunder Wave. So I'm just going to Thunder Wave and Earth Power this first turn. Charizard is going to Mega Evolve. Now the Charizard Heatran combo is actually picking up popularity. A lot of the times Heatran actually tends to run Choice Scarf nowadays. So we'll see if he is running a Choice Scarf variant. And I'm thinking maybe it would have been a bit better to protect Gothitelle there, but we'll see if he actually decides to like double up onto it. He's just going to launch a Heat Wave though. Not going to protect with the Heatran either. Heat Wave burns Gothitelle, which is slightly unfortunate. Oh my goodness, the double burn. Are you kidding me? Okay. Well, let's see if Hydreigon outspeeds and gets this Earth Power off. Yep, it does get Earth Power off. Oh, but he's Shucka Berry. Wow, just full of surprises today. I'm actually really upset about that burn now, because he's going to be able to hang on there. He's probably going to get an Overheat or a Heat Wave off. And see, the burn is just adding so much residual damage as he's going to launch another Heat Wave. At least Hydreigon avoids it, I guess, so making up slightly for it. But still, double burn. I have not seen that in ages. But I do successfully get Thunder Wave off, at least. So that helps me out a bit, but the double burn means that Gothitelle is going to be going down next turn. And it also means because of the Life Orb recoil, he can KO, double KO here. So I'm wondering, maybe I should switch out, but I also kind of want to just Helping Hand Draco Meteor knock out the Charizard. I think it's better though to maybe sack Gothitelle and get a free switch into my Rotom Heat, which is what I'm leaning towards. Yeah, so I'll go for the Psychic onto Charizard. I'm expecting him to just Heat Wave and KO me, but I'm going to Protect with Hydreigon here. Let's see. Shucka Berry Heatran, though. That makes a lot of sense as to why he allowed with it. Oh, he's going to Protect with Heatran. Even better for me. Unless he Protected with Charizard as well, which would make sense. But no, okay. Cool. So I get free damage off against it. Enough that Thunderbolt might actually be able to knock him out, and he gets fully paralyzed, so I mean, that was as good of a turn as I could have asked for, but right now the burn and the life orb is just really causing me issues because Hydreigon's lifespan is ticking down slowly but surely. So God's going to faint here, and Hydreigon's going to take more damage with that burn. So I'm going to bring in Rotom-H here. This next turn I can just go for the safe Thunderbolt Dark Pulse play onto both Pokemon to pick up maybe a double knockout, though if he's smart he'll protect that Charizard. In anticipation of the protect, I could actually double up onto the Heatran slot, since he protected last turn. That's what I'm actually gonna go for. Yep, he's gonna switch out Heatran, so whatever's coming in is gonna be taking a Dark Pulse and the Thunderbolt. It's gonna be a Thundurus, so yeah, that was a pretty good turn for me here. But he actually pulls out the double switch, which is very smart of him. As Kangaskhan, I would suspect is his last one, but it's actually gonna be Garchomp, so going for a Draco Meteor Predict there could have been really good, but unfortunately I did not go for it. But Dark Pulse does a very good amount of damage there. He's not Citrus either, so let's see if T-Bolt can knock out this Thundurus. Because it does pick up the KO with the crit there, but definitely a good turn, at least for me there. But Hydreigon's going to go down next turn to a Rock Slide even. But definitely a manageable game with the Zoomerl in the back. But he's going to bring in Heatran here, no surprise to see that. This is going to be an interesting finish to the game. So, definitely going to protect here with my Rotom, and I'll just go for the Hail Mary Draco Meteor onto Garchomp in case he decides to Rock Slide and somehow misses. He's not going to protect with Garchomp here, so let's see what he goes for. Probably a Rock Slide. Yep, Rock Slide. Oh, he actually, Hydreigon avoids it and gets the Draco Meteor off, so, you know, that's why I didn't want to switch out, knowing I had a small chance of getting the Draco Meteor off, and that might actually just be game right there. He is Sash, though, but now I can actually just Aqua Jet away. So that was a really, really fortunate Rock Slide miss there. I guess it makes up for the double burn, though. Ultimately, that actually probably mattered more than the double burn, so pretty fortunate there. He's going to launch a Heat Wave. That's obviously going to do nothing. And now I can just bring in my Azumarill. So that was really, really fortunate. I think if my opponent had connected with Hydreigon, it would have been a much more difficult matchup. But given that he's Sash, I mean, I could have went for the Will-O-Wisp. I still think I could have won it, but it just made my job a lot easier. So I'm going to go for the T-Ball and the Aqua Jet onto Garchomp now. He might protect, but I don't want to risk getting a Rock Slide off, because Heatran not really doing very much against Rotom, nor can the Charizard in the back. So once Garchomp goes down, you know, Rotom kind of walls both Heatran and the Charizard. But that was a really, really lucky turn there for me. So, you know, RNG often goes on both sides, even if it's not going your way in the beginning. That's why you should never give up. I was not anticipating Sash, honestly. I thought he'd be like the more common Lumberry set Sash. You know, I didn't know he was Sash beforehand, and I wouldn't have known. So I would have gone for the Will-O-Wisp regardless, just to see whether he had it or not. But he's going to bring in Charizard here, which is even better for me, because he just switched into an Aqua Jet. So yeah, it does a lot of damage even under the sun. He does get the Heat Wave off, though. Let's see how much this does. See if he gets another burn. Nope. So Rotom gets the Thunderbolt. That should knock out the Heatran. Yeah, as it does. And that's going to be game because I can just Aqua Jet Garchomp and Thunderbolt Charizard this next turn. As Sunlight actually phase as well, which is even better for me. And Rotom continuing to heal back up with leftovers. And so because I have leftovers and he wasn't Lumburied, like one way I could have won this one was going for the Will-O-Wisp late game. Getting the burn off, and then I could actually heal back, and Rock Slide would not be doing very much damage to me. But now I can just go straight for the Thunderbolt onto Charizard and the Aqua Jet onto Garchomp. So, yep, my opponent's just going to forfeit. So, we close out today's episode also with a win and loss, just like yesterday's episode. I'm probably going to want to re-EV that Scizor to outspeed Politoed, actually, just because the main reason why I lost, I think, that first game was because I was undersped by it, or I was slower than the Politoed. So that's probably something I want to fix. Otherwise, you know, dealing with offensive Thundurus might also want a better answer to it, just because it gave me a lot of issues, especially with that Psychic, which I really did not see coming, though given that it was choice specs, you know, it would make a lot of sense. So, lots of important information to take away as we try to edit this team. Might also be replacing the Mega Evolution, so if you guys have a recommendation for evolution you guys would think would work well with Gothitelle, definitely let me know. I think Kangaskhan, Mawile, and Salamence immediately jump to mind just because they're really powerful and they can really rely on Helping Hand and Thunder Wave support, but I'd really like to hear any suggestions you guys have for the team as well. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did as always, and I shall see you tomorrow. Alright, peace.